Hi everybody, welcome to Taco Tuesday. What we are going to do today is make some Bath Bliss tablets. Very similar to bath bombs. Mine are more of a tablet shape in more maybe adult scents. Today we're going to do lavender. I had bloomed some dye in baking soda earlier in the week and then left it out to dry so that it's ready to go. And I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get a bit of a purple color if I mix some of the pink and the blue together. Everything, all my tools are out. If you saw the reel yesterday, you'll see that all my tools and ingredients that I need are sort of spread in a bunch of different places. But when I know what I'm going to make for the week, try to get everything all laid out at one time so I'm not running around looking for things. So we're going to start with the pink. I need to get to about 250 grams of this because when it was drying, it ends up getting a little clumpy. So I run it through a strainer to make sure everything, the oils, the scent, all of that get distributed evenly. So let's see how we're doing here. We're at about 100 grams. And we need to get to 250. Getting close. $246. Jeez, look at that. 248. I think that's probably close enough. And then we're going to tear it out so we can start from zero. It's a little bit easier than doing the math. And we're going to get another 250 grams of the blue. Boy, this is a little tedious sometimes, but it's an important step. So we're about 110. Boy, for these reels, I'm going to have to get used to talking while I'm working here and explaining all the different steps. But you can kind of see that maybe working in the same bowl isn't as smart as working in two separate bowls in case I make a mistake on the measurements, which happens way more often than you'd think. So we're at about 250 on that one. So we can move these things out of the way and give it a little bit of a mix and then hope we get to some. I mean, it's actually kind of cool looking like it is, but I think the more we mix, the more we're going to get a purple that we're happy with. And may make more sense to people if they're seeing a purple that they equate with a lavender scent. And I try to color these pretty deeply where I can. I think, if you are going to use one of these in your bath, I think that's part of the fun. So the reason that I use the dyes and lakes is because they are formulated to be used in bath products, and they also won't stain a fiberglass tub, and they won't stain your skin, and they'll just give you that fun experience of having colored bath water, and rinse right down the drain when you are done. So that's kind of cool. It's a nice purple color. We've got a little bit of blue and pink specks in there, which will make it interesting. But yeah, there you go. That's That's a pretty good purple. So the other thing that I do is recipe cards. I do this for every single product that I make. And it's not only to be able to refer back to the recipe, but it is also a safety precaution, I guess, kind of like a lot number, so that if anything happens or if a customer's not happy with something or something doesn't perform, I can go back to the exact day and time and formulation that I use for the product, and I can go back and sort of understand maybe what happened. I haven't had it happen yet, but I think it's probably a good manufacturing process and or standard to have, as well as it would help with my insurance claim if I had one. You know, the other thing I put on there is what category this particular product falls into. So bath tablets fall into a category 9, and that is one of the categories that you find on a safety data sheet from the International Fragrance Regulatory or Retailers Association. And what they do is authorize these fragrance oil manufacturers that I use to categorize their products in every possible use. So maybe your lips, or baby powder, or moisturizing socks, or eyeshadow, or soap, any of those things. And these reputable manufacturers will list out on a sheet what the safe percentage use of their oils are. And then when I custom blend them, I use the lower of those. So every one of our products is compliant with those safe usage guidelines, even as we blend them. So the next product that goes in, I need 200 grams of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear out this one, and we're going to go ahead and put in 200 grams of this. This will get whisked later, so it'll, but this is citric acid. This is pretty cool. So this combined with the baking soda and some other things give you that chemical reaction when you drop it into the bath water. It's actually a lot of fun. It creates those fizzy bubbles. So we're almost at 200 grams. There we go. All right, so we're safe there. Move on to the next. This is a little bit of a secret ingredient of mine. So we need 24 grams of that. So one of the other ingredients I like to use is kaolin clay, kaolinite. And so what this does is contributes to the hardness. And this goes in my soaps as well. It is a clay that just, it adds to the slip. I don't know how to explain it, but you know, if you ever really rubbed a very fine talcum powder between your fingers, you'll just sort of understand it's that silky, smooth slip. So let me throw in that. We'll go with 25 grams here. All right, so now this is the dry ingredient. So we're going to go ahead and whisk these together. Make sure everything is well mixed before we end up measuring out and integrating our liquids. There isn't any water in this. It's just oils. But you do want to make sure that any liquids at all that go in don't prematurely activate that chemical reaction that I talked about. All right, so we look like we're good here. So I got some of these ball molds, and why I typically, the other thing that I do is I 3D print. So I created a mold where this, when it's filled with the mixture and it is compressed, it will create a tablet. And so again, I measure out about 4 ounces and put that in there, and that's how that's made. But I always wanted to try the round molds, just to see if I can get the same kind of compression in something round as I have in something tablet shaped. So we're going to try those today. I like the way these speckles are coming out. These are fun. So just kind of reach in and get rid of those clumps as I see them. What I am going to do, though, is put these in a separate container so that I can make sure that I don't ruin the whole batch if I get one of the measurements wrong, which, you know, that's one of the reasons you just don't want to have any distractions. It's a very important thing for me to make sure that the kitchen or my lab area or wherever it is that I'm working is kind of free of distraction, and so I can focus on what's happening. Again, that's the benefit of making these things in small batches so that you can control the quantity and control the cost, because you're not throwing out formulations that maybe have been mismeasured. So we're going to go in here and we are going to use this oil. All right, try to do that. Tear that out. Oopa. Grams. Tear that out. Okay. So this is a cool thing, polysorbate 80. So what this is, it is a surfactant and an emulsifier, but it is plant-based. And so what this does is allows oil and water to mix, which is an important thing when you want to be able to rinse this off your body and rinse this product out of your tub. So vegan, lactose-free, gluten-free, all the rest of that. And it's made in the USA. Which is, you know, what is really important to me is to try to find as many products as I can that are actually made here and are regulated here. Okay, a little over, but it won't hurt anything. And then we're going to add in our lavender. Move this out of the way so you can see. So mix this in, and again, as you can see, there's no water in here, so but I want to make sure I put it in a little bit at a time so it doesn't start the fizzing process, so that all that fizz is saved for when you put it in your bath water. Oh, I wish I could tell you how amazing this smells right now. Oh, lavender is one of my favorite scents, which is why we have so much of it growing all over the property. So there's a rookie mistake for you. I should have a silicone spatula here with me to be able to get all of this very expensive oil out of this glass here. So I apologize for the noise. Maybe what I'll do is put a little in there and do it that way, and use the formula to help get out the rest of that fragrance oil and moisturizing oil. So one of the things I want to add here, oh boy, look at that, made a bit of a mess. I didn't realize how much of that was on my gloves. So at Arbor Grove, we don't use essential oils. Essential oils are not regulated in the United States, much like vitamins, and therefore we're not able to verify what's actually in that bottle. If you take a look at the FAQs on my website, you'll sort of understand. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head for how much plant material it takes to make an ounce of essential oil. But, you know, just for the sake of argument, let's say it takes 50,000 rosebuds to make a pound. I think, you know, if you've ever tried to go out and buy a rose bush, water it, maintain it, trim it, weed it, all the rest of that. I think if you tried to do that times 50,000, you're not going to sell a pound of that oil, especially after it's been distilled for $4.99 on Amazon. So with the products that I make and the fact that I want things to be as clean and as safe for my customers as possible, it's just not a chance that I'm willing to take. So, you know, as you know, candles are another main focus item for Arbor Grove. And, you know, if we don't know what's in that, we certainly don't know if it's safe to set it on fire and in your home, right? So, you know, for me, I would rather have a safe, clean product that performs better and that will have more effectiveness over the life of the product than to take someone's word that what's in that bottle is actually pure lavender, you know, essence, you know, a distilled product or rose or geranium or whatever that is. The other thing too is, you know, certain products like sandalwood, those are plants that are potentially endangered, or it's very difficult to grow them in a particular place. So for the community, once those are gone, it may be very difficult, if not impossible, to get that type of flora back. And so again, you know, it's just not something that I'm really interested in doing. So take a look at the FAQs on my website. Wow, I'm flinging this stuff all over the place. So the way I want to get this here is so that it crumples into a tight ball, but it lets go. I think it's probably could use a little bit more oil. I'm going to put a little of this in just to kind of mix it up. Get a little more moisture in there because, you know, you want it to be as dry as possible because these things do have to cure, but you also want it to be, you want it to hold together too. You want it to hold its shape. So, you know, this is where the mixing comes in, which is why I'm wearing gloved hands and instead of trying to use a whisk or you know, I actually did try using a hand mixer, and if you think I'm flinging this stuff around now, you can imagine what that what that looked like when I was using, you know, a mechanical mixer. So we're just going to keep working it through so that the oils and the fragrance is all evenly distributed and that the entire mixture can be put into a mold and hold its shape. So I'm going to try the middle one, and from what I understand, kind of put it in, mix it down. I want to overfill it a little bit. Kind of make sure you give it a little bit of a head start, I think. And then overfill it. Ooh. That's going to take some muscles. All right, so there you go. Maybe I overfilled it a little too much. It's all a learning process, I suppose. So I'm going to get a little bit out of there so that I can make sure these two go together. Well, that's a sneak peek, isn't it? All right, so let's put them together. Push them. Now, I've seen people that have machines. They'll kind of crank this down. I don't have it, so I'm just going to have to use my arm strength, which is not what it used to be. And there you go. That's why, right? So I want to make sure that these are push together. Let me see if I can give it a little. Okay. Let's see if we can get that to let go. We can. Look at that. Look at that. And then, because again, we want to be careful on this. They don't get hard. They're still. Look at that. Wow. Okay. I kind of prefer the tablet shape, but the round is kind of fun too. I guess that's the bath bomb part of it. What would mine be? A bath claymore? Doesn't have the same appeal, I suppose. Wow, this was fun. This is the first time I've used something like this. And so what these have to do now is dry, cure, whatever you want to call it, so that everything can kind of blend together and become sort of one. Oh, see, there's a crack. We don't want that. So the more I handle it, the more apt I am to make a mistake. So one thing I want to do before anything is I want to weigh this. So everything that that Arbor Grove produces is properly labeled according to United States law, and then some. I believe that you should know what's in the product that you're purchasing and that you're using. I want you to understand that, you know, maybe something has grapeseed oil in it instead of apricot kernel oil, so that, you know, if you have somebody with a, you know, sensitive to nuts, that you sort of, you know, you can make those informed decisions. And so sometimes, you know, you'll see products that are for sale in places similar to where mine are for sale, and they'll be labeled a little bit differently or not labeled at all. For example, soap doesn't have to be labeled at all in the United States, but you will always see the full list of ingredients on mine. So I know it was a little bit of a tangent, but I also put the weight of the product so that you understand what you're paying for. And labeling requires that you put the smallest amount. For example, if your product is, you say that it's 4 ounces, it can be more, but it can't be less. So I just want to make sure. So I shoot for 4. Oh, look at that, 5.10 ounces. So I don't know how much weight this is going to lose when it cures, but that's a big boy right there. So we're going to hope that it only loses 4.1 ounces so that I can call this 5 ounces. But if it isn't, you know, we're going to be honest on the packaging and tell you exactly how much it weighs. So there you go. There's our bath bomb. A nice, beautiful, easy to use addition to your bath time ritual, and it smells heavenly. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Oh yeah, stay hydrated, take care of yourself, and take care of each other. Bye.